Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 80. I was just looking at the numbers. We should be episode 100 the first week of the wild card, it's looking like. Well, so that's pretty
Ah,
interesting. Work out perfectly. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Had another Bears game today that we'll run down through. Bears missed out on Judon. Um, yeah, that's mostly it. But
episode 2 of Hard Knocks.
yeah, episode 2 of Hard Knocks. I forgot about, yeah, I missed it that night because it was crashed. So I had to watch it the next day. Completely forgot about that. Yeah, we had joint
How
practice with the
dare you?
Bengals as well. Um, so it was a pretty eventful week, a lot to talk about, but we'll start off with the game. Rough start for the offense. Three and outs in a row, but pretty sure. Um, Caleb had happy feet. I don't know if guys weren't getting open or he wasn't pulling the trigger. We were talking throughout the game. I thought the O line looked pretty good. There wasn't a lot of instant pressure. It looked like he had a lot of time to bounce around, spin around, and move around. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, he said himself in the post-game presser that he's the one that created that sack by holding onto the ball too long and not throwing it away. And at least he could take ownership and responsibility of that. Like you were saying, it was 3-3 and outs to start the game. Offense looked a little slow. I had texted you saying it looked a little sluggish. Um, and that's going to happen. You know, you're going to hit rough spots, especially as a rookie, this and the other. What I really liked, though, was that he didn't let that deter him. Yeah, they were playing against twos. They were probably playing down to the competition a little bit. Maybe he had a little bit of home jitters. It was his first game in front of the home crowd. You know, probably wanted to go out
Oh
there and do
yeah,
something spectacular. I liked Matt Eberflus's decision to not pull them after the first quarter. I was saying from the beginning, I thought they were going to play the first half. I didn't. That was not the original plan, according to the coaches and Ryan Poles when he was doing his interview with Adam Amin and Jim Miller on Fox.
yeah.
You know, he was saying that he appreciates the coach's decision for keeping him in there longer than what was planned. They ended up playing the whole first half. Second quarter was a lot more eventful. We saw a couple of highlight reel plays from Caleb. That absolute perfect dime to Roma Dunze,
Yeah,
a touchdown pass that should have been a touchdown, but you know, Rome just couldn't keep his feet in bounds. I don't know if he got lost in the back of the end zone or not.
yeah. He's got to
That was an
definitely got to be
amazing
more
throw.
aware there. Yeah, he's
That
got
was
to
an
be more aware because there
amazing
was no one
throw.
around him. He had plenty of
No.
time to readjust and make sure his feet were in bound. And again, but rookie, he's a rookie as well. The
Mhm.
learning curve for everybody. Like you said, Caleb on the last drive came out, looked good, beautiful play, spin. You know what I mean?
Even the deep ball to
Tyler Scott,
Scott.
the pass
That
interference.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was call for. I mean, that was right in the breadbasket. I mean, who knows if Tyler Scott catches that or not? But even making plays like that where you're getting flags down the field is something huge. And
yes, because that is a
I
completion. That's a deep completion.
absolutely. And
And
I'm not trying to hype everything. We know it's preseason, right? I mean, Kenny Pickett was the all-star of the preseason last year, and he's trash, you know. But it's good to see a little bit of growth. It's good to see that the offense struggled a little bit, and instead of just shutting it down completely, these guys came out and fought. The joint practices with the Bengals seemed to help.
yeah,
The Bengals didn't have any other starters in on offense nor on defense, but that's okay. The defense, once again, completely they're just dominating everybody and everything right now. They have a very deep secondary.
yeah.
Their backups are doing great. Blackwell had a fantastic game today.
I was
Terrell
just
Smith
gonna
came
say, I
up with a
wrote down in
pick.
my notes the open field tackling in general by the DBs. I thought the one place the defense didn't look good, screens, some draws, the interior D line, the linebackers were kind of, I don't know if they were falling for it, but the corners were just coming up and you know what I mean. They were hitting people. Kyler Gordon had a sack. Blackwell, pretty sure caused the first interception. I don't. Those were Eberflus was. I don't know if he's calling the plays on defense. I'm not positive at that point, but they were down on some great blitzes. The defense was just all over the place. There were some things they need to clean up. They were getting off the field later in the drive, a couple third downs. Like I said, just I don't know, bonehead stuff. But the defense is there, and to critique Caleb a little bit. Like I said, he was a little bit all over the place today. We obviously saw the flashes, the spin move to the bomb to Dunze right in the breadbasket. But he missed Everett. He missed a couple throws, holding the ball a little too long, normal rookie stuff, and that's kind of things that we're gonna have to get used to. But like you said, it was nice to see him to get his composure, pick it back up, and put one in the end zone because that's what the Bears needed. Justin had all of his qualms, but regardless of that, we moved the ball pretty well, and we just couldn't get touchdowns. We would stall a lot of times right outside of field goal range, and we got, like I said, attacking the ball down the field, getting those calls. What I didn't like was like we barely ran the ball until I don't know if they were just trying to showcase Caleb or what, but like the run game just wasn't there for the first team. Um, Herbert looked pretty good. Roshan's not getting any stabs. I'm like, has he been that good that they're like, he's running back too, and we're not going to
I
let him get
think
hurt?
he's hurt.
Okay. Well, he is
Yeah.
not on any of the reports or saying anything.
No, but I don't think he's been a full participant in practice at all
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So we don't know exactly what the issue is with that. I know Nate Davis is still week to week. I mean, I want to see what this Kieran kid does. When he starts practicing, he should be starting practicing in the next couple of weeks. So he might be, slowly integrated into the offensive line at some point. Um, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of flashes from the offense these last couple of weeks. Slow to start, like you were saying, the run game just wasn't there. I don't know if you're probably right. They probably were trying to showcase Caleb a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the play calling was vanilla to begin with anyway. There wasn't really much besides a couple of the improv throws that Caleb did make. You saw, like you said, started off slow. They just battled, constantly battled. Torrey Taylor is one hell of a punter. Holy shit, does he have a leg on him?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that kind of gets a little bit lost as well as that having a good punter to be able to flip field position like that is huge, especially with a defense that's by all
Playing so well.
metrics,
Yeah.
yeah, by all metrics, pointing towards the top 10 defense in the league. That's going to be huge when you have a rookie quarterback as well. Um, so yeah, all signs point to that. I think quarterback two, was kind of short up today. There was a lot of people that kind of doubted Tyson Bagent, and Brett Rippon was playing so good and this, that, and the other. Those three throws that Tyson Bagent made to Dante Pettis alone were just absolute dimes. I
Yes.
mean, perfect throws.
They were
And
slow as shit, but his placement is great, and he looked good. A lot more poise today.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I do agree. He kind of showed up his spot, and I mean, he's got to be ready. I mean, it's a long season. I mean, even if Caleb doesn't get a serious injury, he might miss a game or two or three. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he's got to be ready to go. And he looked like he can get it done. But I thought we should have ran the ball a little bit more. I don't know if that's a Caleb showcase thing. Like you said, they kept him out a little longer. I think he had 20 plays week one. I think 23 this week. They said they wanted to get him 45 to 55 or something. I thought snaps.
Yeah, he
Um,
might play. He might come out and just play the first quarter.
I don't know. I don't think so. I
Well,
don't
I
think
think he
so.
should. I think he
Yeah,
should.
I'm
And
not.
here,
I agree, but again, I'm looking. I just want to see him play anyway.
yeah.
But
Well, it's not just that, but realistically, you're coming up on a short week, right? The game against Kansas City in Kansas City is on Thursdays. So
well,
if I was
yeah,
them, if I'm the coach, I'm going to be like, hey, this is how it's going to be during the regular season when we have, a short week, this, that, and the other. This is how we're going to prep. This is what we're going to, even if you go on just for a series, you need to prep them for that kind of thing because I'm pretty sure later on in the season around Thanksgiving, they play 3 games in 11 days. So you kind of need to prep him for those kinds of things because he's never had something like that in college
yeah.
before.
I
So
mean that definitely makes sense.
I would,
I like if I was to bet, I don't think he's going to play. Um, I think we saw a lot. I mean, and I think we saw enough. I mean, I would like to see him play, but I do have the feeling that he's going to be good. I see it there. The offense looks just much more confident. The O line, like I said, block. I know it was the second team, but they looked pretty strong. Caleb was just holding it a little too long. But like I said, I think there was kind of a showcase, make your reads kind of game where they, you know what I mean. They weren't dumping it off to the running back. They weren't. I think there was a lot. They were trying to get him to tackle. But the defense balled out, and I mean, I know Caleb is kind of the talk of the town and all that stuff, but like you said, with the punting, we can't like lose sight. Like we don't need Caleb to be a superstar. Like we need him to score points. You know, what I mean, 21 to 30. You know, what I mean, 21 to 28 points. Make sure we're getting that every game, and we'll be very successful. And if he turns out to be a superstar as well, then obviously that's great. But I do think that we need to focus on we can win. Like he had a. I know everyone's hyping him up, and they scored a touchdown. He had that good play, but it was 10-3 in the first half against the backups, and he only had one good drive. The field goal drive, I guess, you know what I mean. The pass interference is, you know what I mean. That's a good play by him, but it still was a penalty that got us all the way down the field. We didn't actually drive all the way down the field, so it was
Yeah.
one good drive to, you know what I mean, three bad ones and one okay one, and
Well,
we got to clean
realistically,
that
you
up.
have, well, and that's another issue that you're lying, right? So you have a potential for a top five defense. If it is a top five defense, you're going to be really successful anyway, especially with that rookie quarterback. He's able to make those rookie mistakes. Your, defense will kind of pick up the slack for it. But I think this game against the Twos kind of reassured that Austin Booker is not ready to be a starting defensive end yet. And they, what I'm saying, he could probably come in specialist packages and everything
Oh
else
yeah,
like that. It's fine, give him time to grow. But kind of segueing into the next segment, talking about Matthew Judon and the trade that didn't happen. There's still a glaring need at that edge rusher two position opposite Montez Sweat. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to fill all the holes and everything else like that in your roster. It's never going to be a perfect roster, as close as you want it to be, sure, but it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a Pro Bowler at every position. Austin Booker has a lot of potential. He has a nonstop motor, but I saw him get washed quite a bit today against, the backups for the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was getting washed quite a bit, and there just wasn't a lot of discipline there. And I think I put it in
yeah.
the comments on a video last week where that discipline has to be there. He's going straight down the line, and it's
Yeah.
break and contain, allowing
I
that
said it
quarterback to fall
earlier.
outside the
The
pocket.
draws and the screens were killing us because, like I said, lack of discipline, rookies on the line, and they weren't holding
They're set.
their
They're gaps. They weren't
yeah, they
maintaining
weren't
gap
sitting there, yeah,
integrity.
and yeah, I don't for the life of me I don't understand why Yannick's not in New Jersey and in the building. We got the money, we got the familiarity. He like you said, you can't perfectly fill your needs, but I feel like he's exactly what we need. Veteran pass rusher who, you know what I mean, he'll situationally come in. Walker's fine, Hardy's okay, Robinson. To stop the run, those guys are decent. But we need somebody to help Sweat. Sweat was getting
Yeah,
there. We had a couple guys, you know what I mean, getting home to the quarterback, but again, it was the backups. But the way our defensive backs are playing and aggressive how our linebackers play, we need someone else to come out there and help, and then we'll be legitimately a top five defense. And it really hurt to not get Judon, seeing that it was our third versus the Falcons third, and um, everyone thinks the Falcons are going to be worse than us. I guess it's an
that that
indictment on our
that's
team. Like,
that's what the consensus seems to be, at least from the Patriots' perspective.
yes, the
And that's
betting odds are the Patriots are that the Falcons will be better than us and they're going to win the division. But for whatever reason,
well, that's the thing, is that realistically, all right, let's break it down, right? So, you when that trade went down, you had messaged me because we didn't know all the details yet, and you're like, we could have gave that up for Matthew Judon, and then it came out, a little bit later that the Bears did match Atlanta's offer of a third for Matthew Judon, but the Patriots wanted to take the Falcons pick because they thought it was going to be lower in terms of draft positioning. And they wanted Chicago's second, not Carolina's second. They wanted Chicago's second, and that was just too rich. And realistically, it's nice that Ryan Poles is in win now mode, because that's essentially what that is, giving up a third round pick for a guy going into his age 32-year season, especially when you just got Keenan Allen for a fourth. Paying a third rounder, may have been a pretty high skin in the game for it, but at least he was willing to offer it up. I'm glad he didn't overplay his hand and offer their second round pick, because that would have just been asinine. But
I don't
now
know.
yeah, absolutely. That's too much. That's too
I
much.
would agree. I think it's too much,
He's
but I
he's
think
also he also wants a new contract. You're not going to pay him.
yeah, but he's not going to get like
It
you know what I
doesn't
mean. He's not
matter.
going to get something crazy.
You're not going to give up a second round pick for a guy that's turning 32 years old and then extend him for 2 years. You're not doing that. It's not Montez Sweat. You gave up a second rounder for a 26-year-old Montez Sweat. You're not giving up a second rounder for a 32
Well,
year
I
old
mean, I agree.
guy
Again,
coming off a major surgery.
I'm looking at
You're
this
not doing
season,
that.
and
I
yeah,
get it. But that's what if we were on the precipice of winning the Super Bowl, if this was a move that was like, okay, we need this guy to get us over the hump and he's going to take us to the
Well,
promised
I'm just
land,
saying we got an
that'd
extra
be
one
one
too.
thing.
It's not like we. I'm just saying we have an extra one that's going to be a lot worse than ours.
That
I just
yeah,
think
but
we're in a
that's
unique scenario. Again, I see where you're saying. I don't wouldn't want to be completely out of the draft, but we would like if we trade this pick, whatever, we'd still have a first, second, third, or a
we
first,
would
second, third,
we
and a
would
fifth, or whatever.
I see. This is where you and I might differ because realistically, he would be I'm not gonna say crucified, but he would be highly under the microscope. Like, dude, you gave up a second rounder for Montez Sweat.
I mean, he
And
also gave up a second rounder for Claypool. So
I understand, but Claypool was also 26 years old at the time, not fucking 32.
yeah, but what I'm saying
Like,
is a 26-year-old could be a bust, and a 32-year-old can play
I
good for
get
two
it.
more years.
I
So
get it, but you just traded a fourth rounder for Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's better at wide receiver than Matthew Judon is an edge rusher.
yes,
You
but
can't convince me otherwise.
no, I'm not saying that, but I think edge rusher is just far more valuable than and when we got Keenan and when we potentially get Judon, pick values are different. Like a fourth is a lot more valuable when we traded the fourth for Keenan than if we did it right now. Like be in the off season, fourths are more like your picks are more valuable than you know what I mean later. Like you know what I mean. Like your first round draft pick in April is at April 1st is worth more than your first round draft pick in training camp. Is what I'm
Well,
saying. And
I could see what you're saying. Like I said, you and I probably won't agree on it because I told you, I messaged you. I said I thought a third rounder was too much in general to give up for Matthew Judon. I was realistically especially with everything that was going on in New England, because he was not going to play for New England. That wasn't going to happen.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's an indictment that New England didn't want to. Like I said, I guess I feel like I'm in win now, and I don't like. I just have a strong feeling that our season is going to end because we couldn't get the quarterback.
There's a move coming. There's
Well,
21
that gave me
million.
cause of hope that there's a move coming. But my concern is that, like, if he didn't want to show out for Judon, why is he going to show out for anybody? I guess Trey, like, is he going to give up a second for Trey Hendrickson or
He's had no
Reddick?
issues. He's had no issues pulling the trigger on a trade. We have seen it. You just mentioned the two trades that he made: Montez Sweat and Chase Claypool with second round picks. But
I don't want to wait till the middle of the season to get another pass rusher.
maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. And then on top of that, there's going to be cuts coming up at the end of training camp as well, going into the regular season. So we don't know who's going to be out. They got 21 million in cap space.
I
There's a
want him to just go
coming.
get Yannick. Like, what's he going to ask for?
We've
10?
been saying that since the
Yeah.
beginning of training
I
camp.
agree with you saying I
I'm
don't
going
want
to
to
agree
blow
with
up
you
our
there.
future for it, but we got to get somebody. And if for whatever reason, them not having Yannick already makes me feel like they don't want Yannick or he doesn't want to be there because it makes so much sense. Like we need him. He needs a team that's a playoff team. I'm assuming he's still living close in the area. He was playing in Chicago before that was Indy. So I know he's living somewhere close.
There
Um,
might not be there maybe they're
maybe
just
he's hurt. We don't
worried about
know. I don't
money.
know. Yeah, I don't. Maybe yeah, but if there's a disagreement of money, that just means that one of them don't want to be like. If you want to be there, you'll make concessions and not disagree on money so much. Or
Well,
if they really want you, they'll pay you a little bit more and not argue about money so much. So obviously the want from one of the sides isn't there, or they're just that far apart. But
so
I'm
let me
guess
ask you a question. Let me ask you a hypothetical. And this is not, I'm not saying this is just a pipe dream. I'm not saying it's going to happen, not saying there's a potential of it happening or anything else like that. I guess Dallas offered CeeDee Lamb a little under 33 million. And they still haven't come close to an agreement yet in terms of a contract. No contract's been signed. Obviously, Dak's probably the one man on the chopping block, but just say in a realm of it's Jerry Jones. Anything's possible, Jerry Jones. What would you be willing to give up for Michael Parsons?
who's somebody comparable that got traded. What if with Mac was two first,
Khalil
right?
Mack.
And he was 28.
Mac was two firsts, a second, and a fifth, or a fourth, and we got a fifth back.
I mean,
Would you go three for Michael Parsons?
I would have to say three. I mean, if that's the like Khalil Mack, I like Khalil, and Khalil Mack was amazing, but I think Mike is better than Khalil Mack. So yeah, I would have, and then the Micah thing, like you said, you did say anything can happen with Jerry, and I do kind of feel that way, but I do think the one thing that won't happen with Jerry is letting his stars walk out the door. Dallas is more about. I know the city of stars, so they want the good players. So I don't think he'll let Micah Parsons leave.
I don't think
Um,
so either.
I
But
don't think Dak's leaving. I just think they're gonna have a crazy cap where they're paying three guys fucking 50% or 6% of their fucking cap. But they're just gonna have to deal with it. He drafted so well and he got those guys, and that's what they're marketably worth. But I would
in
love
the
to get Micah,
real,
but I'm hoping maybe, like I said, maybe Trey Hendrickson. Reddick doesn't make sense. Reddick really doesn't fit our window. I know, like you were talking about, Judon wants to resign. Reddick clearly wants to resign and for some money.
yeah,
Um,
I heard somewhere he wants like 30 mil a year or something like that. And
exactly.
that's
So like that's not going to work for us.
no. Plus, he's never played with his hand in the dirt, and
Yes.
a lot of people don't understand that a stand-up edge rusher, 3-4 linebacker is not the same as a hand in the dirt 4-3
Yeah.
defensive end. Some can do it. Micah Parsons is one of them. Some of them can pull double duty like that, but some of them just aren't made for that. And Hassan Reddick's not made for that. He's not made for his hand in the dirt 4-3 defensive end. Trey
4-3.
Hendrickson,
No.
on the
Yeah.
other hand,
Yeah. Trey Hendrickson, I think fits. I don't. He's not as unhappy. I don't know if it's a money thing, but maybe we get him. But I really think we have to get somebody. Or like I said, I think our season's going to come down to not being able to get any pressure. Because the DBs are there, linebackers are good enough, much
well,
above.
Hendrickson's turning 32, turning 30 as well, isn't he?
I thought
So
he was 28. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know what Trey Hendricks. I don't think he's that old.
so realistically, what's his value?
I would say a second, I guess. Let's see. Trey Hendrickson, 29. So yeah, he's turning 32. Yeah, I don't. Man, it's tough. I guess third is what he's willing to offer. Is what I imagine. I think he's trying to get somebody for a third. I think maybe he'll pull the trigger in the middle of the season. If my concern with the waiting till the middle, our beginning of our schedule is so easy that like have a feeling. I don't know if rolling's gonna be the word. I think we're gonna be in really good position where he's like, oh, we don't got to make a move. We're fine.
But I don't think he's like that. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think he's like that. It just doesn't
I
seem
think
like
the other moves he had to make, like we had to get Montez. It was a Justin Fields um prove it year, and we could not, the defense could not be that bad the whole year because you can't get a fair reading on them. So he had to get Sweat. And I think the same with Claypool. It was before they got DJ Moore, and he was thinking, I gotta get somebody with some potential to be a number one wide receiver. And they went and got Claypool. So I think he did pull the trigger, but I think there was pressure to pull the trigger in all those scenarios. I don't know if we're, you know what I mean, we're 5-2, or you know, I don't think he's going to have any pressure to go out and get whoever's on the chopping block. And maybe some mystery person will be on the trading block that we don't know on a team that's losing. Let's say, you know what I mean, like a good example. I'm sure this segue some other stuff too. Let's say the Steelers are just sucking it up. Maybe somehow they're like, all right, Justin's not good, Russell Wilson's not good. We're gonna have to tank and get a quarterback, maybe TJ Watt or somebody, like, you know what I mean, somebody crazy. Maybe that'll happen in the middle of the season. Who knows? But
what about Nick Bosa?
yeah, I don't see that happening because I don't see the 49ers being bad.
No,
So I
they're
don't
not going
think
to be
they'll.
bad,
Yeah,
but
like I see there's a path. Even though I'm Team Justin, and he's been pretty mediocre in the off or in the he's uh he's been better than honestly than I thought he was gonna be. I've been fearing the worst in Justin, but I just think he's I would say either the best backup in the league, or you know what I mean, a slightly below average starting quarterback. It seems like, but guys get better. Gino had flashes; he got better. Who knows? But I see like maybe somebody like them. They have a down year and they have to go for a quarterback. But man, I don't know what we're gonna do. And I don't think Booker is going to be ready. I think he needs to just put on some weight, get some snaps, and get a better feel for the NFL game, and then he'll be fine. Walker is who he is. I think Dominic Robinson is who he is. Those guys are solid NFL defensive ends, but they're not going to get more than, I mean, 2 or 3 sacks.
no, they're good run stoppers.
Yeah.
There and there's there's
Hardy's shown flashes, and I'm hoping maybe. Well, I want to honestly, I would like to see him out there with some ones because he has been really good in the run game. He's shown he can get around the corner. He's winning inside. He's winning outside. But I don't know, that would just be too good to be true if somehow he blossomed into somebody. If one of those guys blossomed into it, but like I
never
said,
know.
Justin looked good. Hopefully, I won't say good. I mean, he outplayed Russ in the game. I'll say that. He's shown he can run. He's can throw. We can throw it. He's still just now that he's in a different jersey. It's easier for me to be negative, but like he like what Caleb does well, and he wasn't awesome today either. I think Justin outplayed him today. You know what I mean, on what they did. But Caleb's always down the field. It's like he doesn't feel the like he glances for the rush. Like you'll see he does that spin move and he looks, oh, where's that guy? I lost track. Like I lost track of that guy who got behind me. I'm gonna find him and then I'm back down the field. And Justin's just he just it's all he can
Justin
feel it.
Fields has tunnel vision.
Yes, he can feel those guys getting at him, and maybe that's an Ohio State thing or where he played in high school. Where, like he just never played a game where the pressure was getting to him, so he never had to get used to it. And the NFL is just a big adjustment. That's how what I think it is. Just you play when he was at Ohio State, they were just the best of the best. Best on you know what I mean, best offensive team probably every year. Best wide receivers, you know what I mean, multiple first round offensive linemen, and he just wasn't in the best run game in college. He just wasn't getting pressured, wasn't feeling it, and I'm sure he wasn't in high school. Um, and now, but let's hope I'm hoping I'm rooting for him. Hopefully, he gets in. We want that pick to be a fourth round pick. Not to talk too much about Justin because still the Bears fandom is divided on Justin, and it's just this weird thing where it's like you if you say like if you're talking good about Justin, people take that as you hating on Caleb. It's like I always rooted for the guys who were on the Bears when they left. Like rooted for Jay Cutler after he left. Like I mean, if they left on good terms or like they didn't shit on us after they left, then yeah, I was like, or if they weren't just god awful. Um, but yeah, well, like I said, I don't want to go too much in on Justin because trying not to talk about as much. It's
We'll it's all right. We'll round it off with episode 2 of
hard
Hard
knocks. Yes,
Knocks. There was a delay.
yeah.
I didn't watch it till 9:30 that night. But you could totally tell this is a Hallis Hall Chicago Bears production. It is the if I wasn't a Bears fan and I watched Hard Knocks religiously, I would be disappointed with how it is because it's a feel good story. It's telling a story about, Valus Jones and Webster and, all these other guys or whatever, but there is literally no, I mean, I'm pretty sure that like, I think ass has been the only swear word that I've heard this
Yeah, I
entire
saw that. I
2
hadn't really
episodes.
noticed it. I don't watch all the other ones as intently as I've been watching this one, so I guess I never really noticed. I will say I don't like that part about it, but we're old school traditional guys.
It's
I
very
think
cookie cutter though.
I don't
It's
know if it's
so
Hallis Hall, but
vanilla.
I think it was more of a transition from them to make it more family friendly because they want more people than just football degenerates to watch it.
No, it's legitimately so the Bears are the ones that grant them access to certain things. They have final say on what goes on to that show.
Oh,
It's not like NFL
so you're
Films,
saying like McCaskey's like I don't want any swear
100%,
words in it. Well,
1000%,
he is a like McCaskey. They
1000%.
are is they. It's terrible they are owners, and it looks like they've finally gotten it right, or they just got lucky. I guess they got it right with Poles, and then Poles got lucky with how the dominoes fell. Um, but they are good, genuinely good people. Like
Absolutely.
doesn't one of them still like officiate
Yeah,
like
George.
George still like referees games, umpires games
Yeah.
and stuff. He picked Ryan Poles up from the airport in his own car.
Yes.
like,
And
um,
see, and I get it, but it's not the National Football League. Like, let's stop pretending that this is
I
all
think that's where the National Football League is
happy-go-lucky.
trending too, though. Like,
It's
they're getting less violent.
it's so vanilla. I mean,
Yes. Well, I
it's
think they want vanilla. Vanilla is better for casuals because, and I'm not saying for us. I like the grittiness. You know, and we've been complaining for years on how soft it's getting, but that's where the NFL is trending because they want is basketball too. Like they want people complain too much nowadays. We're like, oh, they're swearing, or you know what I mean. He called them a gay slur. Like you know what I mean. Like how like basketball that was so normal, and then like now it's completely out of basketball. No one ever says that anymore. Like how often did you know what I mean? Kevin Garnett call somebody a fag, or you know what I mean? Like Kobe got in trouble for it. It's just like that's just how it is. I honestly didn't even notice it, but like I said, I don't watch. I haven't watched the last time I watched Hard Knocks and I was really paying attention was like when Rex Ryan was the Jets coach. Like was that 15 years ago, 10 years ago?
yeah, like
Like
2009 or
yeah,
something.
like it's just not. I don't know. I've never been super intrigued with it. This one I
I
am
love
locked
it.
in.
I well,
I'm a
I
bias.
love the Hard Knocks
I like
series.
some of the stories. I just
I've started rewatching like some of the older stuff too because as you know, I'm very interested in like the top office, stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
watching the New York Giants offseason and everything Joe Shane is, was doing with the Giants. That shit fascinates me. Like the entire process, and people don't understand the how long that process is and what goes into it, just to have that kind of, I don't know, I guess peek behind the curtain, because all of us sit here and we're, keyboard GM saying, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that, I would have done this, I would have done that. When realistically, yeah, the final decision comes down to the GM, but the GM has an entire war room of team, like a huge team working on this stuff with him. And
How do you get that job?
it's not just exactly, it's not just as easy as, oh yeah, we're picking this guy. We're picking no, like it's a lengthy process, and just seeing that it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, it
And
is really cool. And like
you
I
know what
said, I
I'm
would love to
saying?
have the job, just be one of the guys in the room.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I don't know. Maybe got to email polls or something. Maybe he'll
What I
be there.
would give to be a fly on the wall of the draft room and
Yeah.
during that whole process, with him and Ian Cunningham and his scouts and his money guy. They were talking to his money guy. Luke Canellis was talking to his money guy pregame before the game even started. Just I guess he's the guy that handles the salary cap and what goes into signing a free agent, what goes into making a trade, contract negotiations, this, that, and the other. And just his responses were crisp and very, it made a lot of sense. And it's not just one of those things where it's like, we sit here and we're like, oh, well, why couldn't they sign so and so for that amount of money? And it's like, well, because this is the process. This is what goes into it. It's not just as simple as cutting a check.
Yeah,
And
well, I guess the Bears are cheap, so yeah, you gotta pitch pennies. In reality, the salary cap in the NFL is fugazi, and you can get whoever the fuck when you need, and you push the money down the road, and you figure it out when they change the rules
yeah, you could
in
be New
3 years.
Orleans and be 50 million in the hole every year, but still end up signing Derek Carr
Yeah,
for
it's good.
160
Exactly. They
million
kick the can
dollars.
down the road. That shit's fugazi. It's like it just depends on. I'm assuming their owner's just super rich, so he can afford to take certain penalties and losses every year. The McCaskies, they don't operate like that. So yeah, it's nice
Absolutely
to
not.
have a money guy in there making sure we're penny pinching because we got to fill out a team. Um,
And Ryan Poles is smart, and
yes,
he's very conscious about how he's building his roster. And I guess I could appreciate that. He's not making decisions like Ryan Pace was, where he's just like, we have to do this to save our jobs. Ryan Poles is like, no, this is my strategy. I'm sticking to it. If it gets me fired, it gets me fired. But it seems like it's working out pretty well right now. So
I don't know
I
about that.
gotta give him
I won't say
kudos.
pretty well to pat on the back too much. The season's gonna start, and hopefully we make the playoffs. But I honestly think if we don't make the playoffs, then it didn't work, and it's not going well. So, um,
We're making the
but I
playoffs.
do agree. I think we have a sweet schedule. That's what I'm saying. If we don't with this schedule, barring some major injury, and honestly, knock on wood, the only injury that could be is Caleb. I think, and besides Caleb, I think if anybody else gets injured, we should be fine. But maybe Montez Sweat. But like
Well, and see,
If
here's
Moore
the
gets
thing.
hurt, we're fine. If Keenan gets hurt, we're fine. Like
I'm not saying this because I think he's something special. I'm just saying even if Caleb does get hurt for a substantial amount of time, I don't see this team losing 10, 11 games stiel.
I
Yeah.
do. I mean, Bajan. I mean, I
Bajent
like
went
him a
in.
lot, but
Bajent went in and won 2 games. He went 2-2 as a starter. Yeah, it was against some, pretty
the word like
not.
no,
I
but
get
like
it. I get it. But
those teams aren't even going to be that bad again
our
this year. Like
defense is much better, and we have a lot more offensive weapons than we did. So it's not like he's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
guess that's true.
some
I didn't think
world.
about it like that. I guess it's Keenan and Keenan's good at getting open. They'll protect the kid. But I like if Caleb missed the whole season, I don't think we make the playoffs with Bajan being the quarterback. I don't think so.
Maybe it's a Kyle
And
Orton.
I wouldn't hold that against Poles. Like I said, I would barring that. Like I wouldn't or Montez Sweat. If Montez Sweat got hurt, we had no pass rush.
Yeah, no,
Doesn't
that
matter
would
how good
be.
your secondary is. Like so barring those two things. But like I said, I don't want to toot his horn too much. It looks good, but I thought last year it looked good, and the year before that it looked good. So I have rose-colored glasses on when it comes to the Bears, and I just want to see it come to fruition because this is one of the best teams we've ever had. And that's me counting Caleb as just a rookie. Like him not special, not being generational. I think him being an average quarterback, this is one of the better teams we've had in a long time on the offensive side of the ball for sure. Probably the best team we've ever had, skill wise, and on defense. We're back to what the Bears are, and that's gritty, you know what I mean, in your face, come up and make the tackle defense. And we talked about Kyler Gordon not playing much, but he came back and he made an impact and he looked fucking good out there. And I'm ready. Like if he's coming like that every game,
When
our
he's
defense is gonna
healthy,
be good.
he's got to be
Yes, he's good at
one of, if
coverage. He's
not the
tackling.
best nickel corner in the league.
Yeah,
Like
he's definitely playing something like that. And I know those were the backups, but man, he was all over the place.
well, and here's the Bear. The one thing that concerns me a little bit is that the national media is pumping up the Chicago Bears, and every time
Yes,
they seem to do that, we always have a disappointing season. Nick Wright had him as like his fourth best roster in the entire league, and so that I mean,
I
I'm
hate when Nick
a little
writes.
bit of a cause of concern, especially with all the hype and everything. But um, Nick Wright is also, I don't know. I don't like
Honestly, right now, I don't like his take on LeBron because I'm not a LeBron guy, but I think he gives cogent analysis. I will say that. I think what he says is rooted in data type of thing. I don't think he talks out his ass a lot. Even with the LeBron thing, I can admit, I like if you're just looking on pure stats, I would say LeBron's a goat. I think it's more than that. And so sometimes but analytics wise, we do have one of the best teams. I mean, Jalen Johnson, I mean, is clearly underrated, but he was amazing last year. Montez Sweat, the same. Um, Byard is one of the best safeties this last decade. Um, Brisker and Kyler Gordon, Tyree Steven, these guys were all good young players. Tremaine Edmonds is good. TJ Edwards has had back to back Pro Bowl caliber top tier linebacker season. So I don't think it is
pretty sure
out
this
to
is the last year of his deal too.
yeah. And he already took a friendly team deal. I think he'll do it again. Just his position, they're not going to get paid. But I am excited and want to close it out. The one thing I did want to talk about too before I go, and this is a good thing, we were talking about how tough it's going to be to cut some of these guys.
Yeah.
I think we've been banging down the door to have Velus Jones get cut, and I'm interested in seeing him play a little bit more running back. I think he's okay. I think, and he's not even making any big plays, but for whatever reason, he's seeing the hole and getting like 6 yards a run. 7 yards a run. Like, so I don't know. And Ian Willer's been good. Is there a trade market for Herbert? But I don't want to get rid of Herbert. If Swift gets hurt, we need Herbert. So it's like,
Well, the Bears kept 5 running backs on the roster last year, and 6 if you include Blasingame, and I think they're going to do the same thing again this year. It
but
just
that
makes
was because
sense.
Homer is a special teams guy. I
Yes.
don't know how much of a special teams guy all these other guys are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So realistically, I think you're looking at Swift, Herbert, Johnson, Valus, Wheeler, because there's no need for Travis Homer. There's none.
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
mean,
I don't know. Does Wheeler play special teams? Velus Jones returns, but he doesn't
yeah,
play
I'm sure.
gunner or anything. Like
But
Homer
here's the
was a
thing. I'm
gunner,
sure.
right? Or he was like on the kickoff team and on the punt team. Like,
Yeah, but I'm sure you can,
yeah, I
integrate these
guess you
guys
figured out.
in
Yeah,
and,
but even the
kind of
DBs too.
figure it out.
Blackwell I hope he makes it. I mean, his
Yeah,
Jonathan Owen,
Blackwell,
Jonathan,
he had a great game.
yeah.
Jalen Jones had a good game.
Terrell Smith caught interception.
Yeah, Terrell Smith.
It's like I hope we keeping all those guys. Yeah, but that's it.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Owens brings the hammer.
Simone Biles showed up to the Bears game in a Packers jacket. What the
Yeah.
hell is that? Like
Well,
well, ended up it was a
it
Jonathan
wasn't
Owens
just
jacket,
yeah,
but
but
who
you know what
you
I'm
can't
saying?
wear some Bears gear. You cannot be on the sidelines
Yeah,
with.
just go get a new one made.
Why
You
did
know,
someone give her one? They don't got a freaking Owens jersey to give her or a hoodie. Like, uh, but all right, it was a good week. We're getting back to our longer episodes. We're doing the game analysis. But like, follow, subscribe. Like I said, we've grown this is probably the best month we've ever had in single growth. Like I said, a lot of comments, so we appreciate it. Like, follow, subscribe, and we'll be back next week.
all right.
Yes.
Real quick,